Hello. The episode you're about to watch has some slight audio problems due to, let's just say, some technical difficulties. I will apologize for this ahead of time, but please enjoy the episode anyway. Welcome to Functions. My name is Mac Blackman, and I am joined by Ile Ture. Hello, Ile.
Hi, Mac.
Oh, it's been fun trying to get this podcast back.
If only we had an app that could organize our time for us.
Oh, only if we did Cron calendar, Apple calendar, any calendar.
Yeah, no, I'm allergic to calendar apps at the moment. Sorry.
You know what's funny? When I initially started planning this episode, I put in the notes, the show notes. Adobe adds AI powered things, and then that's all now come out.
Yeah,
so that's quite funny.
Yeah, I'm loving the Adobe kind of range of AI things they're testing at the moment. I think it's great. What have you tested? Have you seen any of it yet? Have you tried any?
I was going through the beta page on the Adobe Creative Cloud. I haven't tried anything else yet because I am running Windows 10. And they don't allow you to run any of the new versions that are supposed to be running on Windows 11 at the moment, which is really annoying. And I don't know why they're doing that.
I'm sure the Windows 11 users make up probably less than 10% of all of their users. That's really strange.
I know, it is. And I don't understand why they've been doing that at all, because it's Windows 11 is just kind of an add-on to Windows 10. They don't ever get rid of what was in the past.
Okay.
They just add on top of it or change certain bits. So I don't understand why they can't support Windows 10.
No, that's strange. I've got the Photoshop beta, and I've been trying out the new Remove tool, which is basically a version of what Google's Magic Remove is on their Pixel phones. It's amazing. It's so good. They already had their content-aware kind of lasso tool, but now they've got this Remove tool, and it is like magic. You can select any object within your frame and just kind of roughly mark it out or mask it, and it just disappears, and AI rewrites the background in for you just like that.
I think you showed me this with like some light switches you had in the background of an image that you just got rid of them through painting them out.
Yeah, it's great.
The thing about calling something an AI though, is it AI? It's in my opinion, it's not. It's machine learning.
Machine learning, yeah.
But I guess AI is a more entertaining thing to say instead of just machine learning. Or ML.
It's going to get more headlines than ML, isn't it? For sure.
Yeah.
But I don't actually know how these things are working. In fact, I imagine that is machine learning. But then the audio one that we've spoken about off air, where Adobe has now, do you know what they call this feature?
Which feature?
So Adobe Podcast website have got a new feature they're testing that removes noise from the background.
I don't remember what they call it.
I think it's called a voice clarity or something like that. Either way, it's that I believe is AI, because isn't it actively listening and working out the environment and working out what's going on, and then using AI to replace parts of your voice to replace the noise?
Yeah, it sounds like what it does is it analyzes what you've been saying and then tries to stitch a new sentence together over the top while not removing the background sound, just lowering it.
Yeah.
That's the important thing to know, because you may be using it thinking it will remove all background noise. It doesn't do that. I tested that with a coffee machine to see what would happen. And I think that is actually one of the best tests I did for it, because it shows me exactly how it works. Because as I was saying before we started recording, it kind of made me sound like an alien, because I wasn't speaking English, nor was I saying any words. It's just random letters being mixed together because it couldn't figure out what I was saying over the coffee machine.
Yeah, and that's the AI part, isn't it? Where it's trying to figure out what's happening on the fly and learn on the fly. Whereas machine learning, I guess, is a set of human parameters that are applied in a sequence of some sort. I don't know if I know the difference, to be honest. It's great either way.
I have a weird thing to talk about. Did I send you the Notion page, by the way?
I'm sure you did.
I'll send it to you anyway. Again, I just wanted to talk about something that I find interesting. The fact that YouTube Studio has no widgets, which may seem like it comes out of nowhere, but I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago. Okay. And I was thinking, although Android allows you to have widgets, and they kind of started it really. I know Apple had some at the beginning, but let's admit that Android widgets are the reason why Apple has the widgets we have now.
The original Apple widgets that used to be on your kind of dashboard were amazing. I used to have my countdown timer, my cinema review kind of widget. Yeah, they were great.
But the customizability of the ones we currently got is because of Android.
Yeah, definitely.
And it interests me with all the widgets that they have. Google don't really have that many for their own products. They have it for screen time and a clock or the weather, but they really don't have it for. I would like there to be a counter that I can stick on my phone of audience retention or subscriber rates, so I could quickly look down to see how I'm doing on it. But they've got no widgets for that.
Is that because they want to limit the kind of ability to track things in real time, perhaps?
Possibly.
Because I know with monetization and things like that, things change. Like at one point it will look a certain way and then they'll revise it. So if you've got a widget, that could be confusing.
Yeah, but they've added tools onto the website version. You can have a live countdown of what's happening. Like
Let's write one.
Sorry?
Let's write our own widget. I'm sure if I asked ChatGPT, it can help me there.
I've been doing my F&P work, which you know about, and we decided we were going to make it rewrite the F&P and see what it would do. I didn't use it. I just wanted to know what it would do. And we decided we'd make it do it as if Darth Vader did it. And that was very entertaining.
What's that? Rewrote like your proposal or something?
Yeah. It rewrote the proposal in Darth Vader's voice. It was great. Hilarious. So much fun. And then we told it R2-D2 to see how it would get confused. And what it did, it just went beep, boop, boop, and then said something really serious. Then beep, boop, 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 boop.
That's great. It's great. I mean, AI is great. And I know we're going off on the side again in ChatGPT. And I used it for something the other day, and it was to do with my DJ work. And it was kind of I got it to compile releases from a certain year that I had forgot about. So then I can look through these releases and pick out things I want to play. And I thought, this is actually a part of my job as DJing that I really enjoy and that I'm known for, and that is my knowledge and of music from a certain era and being able to play songs that people can relate to or like. But ChatGPT is just like having this really annoying friend who's better than me beside me at doing it. And I can't ignore this friend because they've got vital information that I could use, and it kind of diminishes my role slightly, but I still have to use them. So I don't know how I feel about it for certain things. I mean, I can't ignore this newfound ability to recall all these songs, but at the same time, that's kind of what I get paid to do.
Oh, that's happening across the world for everyone that is in the creative industry, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is a huge surprise to me. I always thought it would be the non-creative industries that would get affected first, but it seems like they went straight for the creative industries.
I think it's going to capture everything, isn't it? Eventually.
I want to ask, how has your DaVinci time been going?
Oh, I've been using DaVinci today. I absolutely love the layout. So let me just give the listeners some kind of perspective. So I've been a long time editor. I started editing on VHS. So it was VHS to VHS with a nice little kind of graphics and titles machine in the middle, hardware.
I'm so glad I never had to do that.
It was great. We loved it. It was amazing. Like the ability to put two things together to make something new was just mind blowing. But anyway, moved on. I think the first timeline kind of non-linear timeline digital thing I ever used was Premiere Pro actually. It was a really old version in about 2001. And then from about 2005, I was Final Cut all the way. And used Final Cut all the way up until about 2014, about a year after they switched. Final Cut. It's great. But in 2013, they switched to their new layout and lots was missing. And I needed the ability to import from DVs. You couldn't do it in new Final Cut. So we went to Premiere Pro. And I've been happy with it. I know all my shortcuts. I'm fast with it. I know its limitations. It's great, but students keep talking about this DaVinci Resolve for the last 3 years, and it's a free bit of software. I don't know
what student has been talking about it to you. That's ridiculous.
Plenty, including you. And to me, I just saw it as freeware because it's free. I didn't really pay any attention to it because there's lots of freeware out there that kind of let you do some bits.
Yeah, I had that same opinion the first time I used it because it was what I learned to edit in.
Yeah.
Instead of having Adobe, I didn't have access to it entirely back then. I think I only had After Effects. So I learned on DaVinci because it was free. And it is a lot better than Apple Movie Maker or
iMovie.
Sorry, Windows Movie Maker or what's the one you get on iPads? Even though you can now get Final Cut as of yesterday on iPad, which is interesting.
Yes, we'll get into that.
But what is that other one? iMovie. That's it. I have a friend who edits in iMovie, and it annoys me every time.
Do you see the same iMovie titles that come up?
Yeah, it's always the same iMovie titles.
Music
everywhere. It's so painful. But I will say with DaVinci, it's had a different effect on me than I was expecting, because I swapped to Premiere Pro when I started doing the media course, and now I'm swapping back. And one thing I never got used to on Premiere Pro was using shortcuts. I know this is a terrible thing to say as an editor. I always clicked the physical buttons on the screen and then sometimes remembered the shortcuts, which slowed down editing so much.
Yeah, it's quite hard to edit without shortcuts.
Yeah, it is. And I still did it.
Yeah.
Because I just never got used to their layout. But the first thing I did when I got DaVinci was I went through their keyboard settings and set up a really quick keyboard thing of like S is my split key and D is my delete key. A is select everything in front. It's just amazing and I love it. 1 and 2 are zoom in and out. I don't know why I didn't do that initially. I don't know if I moved all those shortcuts to Premiere, would I be using Premiere still? I don't know.
I think most in sound anyway, in audio editing, which is where I'm most comfortable, we carry our shortcuts as what everybody does. From software to software, you don't learn these shortcuts because they've all got the same features, just in different locations. So you take them with you and you can, that's why they have import your keyboard shortcuts. But if you're into that, why don't you get into kind of DaVinci Resolve's, what's it called? The speed editor, the hardware.
The really expensive equipment.
I looked into the speed editor. It's like 400, maybe 350. It's not that much money.
Oh yeah. That sounds so cheap. I'm going to use a keyboard that did not cost that much.
Okay, I hear your point.
If I had enough money to spend on all of that equipment, trust me, I would buy it and use it. But because I don't, I'm not going to buy it for a very long time.
Yeah, and my saying is it's always best to become a master of what you have, rather than buy everything and not use it completely. So become a master of your keyboard. Great.
I was watching this guy do DIY yesterday, and instead of buying new camera equipment and everything, he spent it primarily on tools. Yeah. But that allowed him to do something interesting that I had never thought of. He's using his iPhone and his Apple Watch, and he's pressing play and start on his Apple Watch.
For what, sorry?
For recording.
Recording what?
Video of him talking or... moving the cutting stuff.
Okay.
I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Why isn't that a feature with cameras? I want a Canon Apple Watch button.
Yeah, that would be great. It would require these companies to talk to each other. I mean, Apple, again, I'm in the Apple ecosystem. In my recording studio, I have a recording booth, which is a few meters away from the computer. So I can use my phone to kind of trigger the transport bar, record, stop, undo, things like that, which is great, making use of the tools that you already have in your pocket. Whereas a lot of big professional studios, you'd have kind of mobile gear made by Mackie or whoever that you could trigger those things from.
Yeah. I want to talk also about a subject that I'm very much interested in.
Okay.
I like Rode as the company.
Do you really though? I mean,
I do.
Even the Rode gear that you have?
Yeah, okay. I've had problems with the Rode gear that I have, which is why I'm not recording on the Rodecaster right now. I'm recording on the Scarlett because it's more reliable. But I like how cheap their equipment is for what it does. I mean, the Rodecaster is a really cool piece of equipment when it works.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to interface so easily with recording online, which is a problem I used to have with an actual mixer that I have like right next to me. I hated using that thing because I ended up just having to put so many cables going out to everything to record online. Yes, you could get a DAC, but a DAC doesn't allow that many channels unless you buy one of the really expensive ones, which is kind of what the Rodecaster is in a way. Yeah,
I was going to say Rodecasters and Rode gear in general is not cheap. It's convenient. A lot of the things I can do on my Rodecaster, as I stare at a Rodecaster right now, I can do with a 4-channel mixer or maybe an 8-channel mixer and a cheap interface for about 50 quid. But it's that time and that convenience and having to rewire, like you said, and having to get the drivers for the PC to be able to see this and see that make it an issue. And the Rodecaster, the original, which is the only Rodecaster I've used, I can just push the fader up and hit the big red button.
I mean, I'm also on the original, so.
So what's the new stuff that you're into?
The new stuff is I really like their new capture card Streamer X thing, because they've been working on this a new area of Rode for a while. If I get up the website.
As you do that, they kind of dip their toe into it with an update for the Rodecaster where they let you trigger scenes from the pads on the Rodecaster. Do you remember that during lockdown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now they've kind of added the capture card to it. It's kind of like getting the Rodecaster and the Blackmagic ATM and mixing them together to make...
Exactly that, yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. And I'm probably going to buy one once it's out.
Is there an RRP for it yet?
An no. Oh, actually, pre-order button has appeared now on the website.
Okay, so what's the price?
I'm going to get it now.
Before you get it, I predict it's going to be $399.
Very close in a way. $349.
Okay, and
That's
how many
not bad.
inputs is that? That's 2 audio inputs. Is that right?
I don't know. Let me have a look.
And a kind of through for video.
This is one audio input with a combined.
You get 2
jack.
because you get one on the back combi jack and then you get one on the front. So you get a TRRS input on the front, which is a headphones input.
One on the
So the headphone input, you can put a gamer headset in.
I see the TRS on the back. Okay.
It's TRRS, yeah.
TRS. I also like the fact that it allows you to plug in 2 computers, because it's obviously targeted towards streamers, but that can be used for many other things.
Tell me what, because I saw the guy pitching this at whatever convention it was, and he said you can use 2 PCs, and my little mind couldn't work out why I'd need 2 PCs.
So for people who do streaming, like game streams or stuff like that, usually the games take up a lot of power on one computer. Right. So they're kind of splitting up the encoding and all that on the other computer while they have the game on. So they have a 2 computer setup. Right.
So dedicated machine. I get you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Usually it also acts as a huge storage for server stuff as well.
Okay. So they've been listening obviously to the users and built it right first time. What's the general feedback from the gaming community? Are they all going to jump across?
I haven't heard anything from the gaming community.
Okay.
It seems like nobody's noticed. I have to admit, I do like the Rodecaster backpack and the PodMic USB.
I like the PodMic. I haven't seen the backpack. I'm sure it's great and it's actually a good idea, because the Rodecaster is always on the road. But the PodMic, putting USB, great.
Yeah. So I like the idea of that, because I can then suggest that to people who don't want to get a DAC. Because I'm using the PodMic right now to record this episode, and I have to get the XLR combination, which I prefer. But there are people out there who don't like XLR because it costs more money to get the DAC and everything. So... yeah, and USB is easier to explain to people. I'd have
to A/B test, the PodMic versus the USB mode and see what sounds the best, to be honest. If there is a fall off in quality, to me, you might as well just go ahead and get an XLR mic.
Agreed, but yet again, I know someone from one of my other podcasts, and I would gladly suggest this to them.
So what's the other one? They've got PodMic. What's the one that I've got again?
I don't know.
So let me have a look.
Are you not speaking into a mic?
I'm not on my Rodecaster right now, so I'm at another place. So I've got
They have the pro version of it. If I go to products, I'm on their website right now.
I've got the PodMic. Let's have a look.
You may be talking about... There's the NT USB, but that's probably not what you're talking about.
You're
probably talking about the Procaster.
Yes, you've got the Procaster and the PodMic. I've got the PodMic. So is that a USB version of mine?
I believe there might already be one. I think they announced it earlier. Yeah, there we go. Podcaster, very confusing name. So we've got Procaster, PodMic USB, and Podcaster.
Oh, wow.
Podcaster is a USB one.
Right, okay, I understand. Okay, yeah, so I've got my PodMics, and I'd be interested if they came out of a USB version of mine. I don't think they will, because of the price point, but also I've got a Rodecaster 1. I can't even use it.
What do you mean?
Doesn't have a USB input.
Well, nor does the second one. The second one's USB inputs for a different reason, not for microphone input.
But the software update allows it to be used for a microphone input.
Does it?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Game changer.
Again, I don't think this is for someone who's doing podcasting alone. If they're at their own house and they're like I am, and technically you are, we're talking into a microphone. We don't really need the mixer part of it. We just need the DAC part of it to talk to each other. That's probably why they would need it.
Yeah.
The bag is really cool.
I'm going to look at it right now.
The bag has 2 slots for keeping the boom arms in, cable area and microphone area, and a charging part, I think, for it.
I'm looking at it right now. This is lovely.
Yeah. Now, that is something I'm very tempted to buy.
I mean, do you move around a lot? If you move around a lot, great. But if you don't?
I do not at the moment, but the plan is for the movie podcast to do out and about at some point. That being screen free. So I probably wouldn't buy it after testing.
Yeah, a nice flight case. You can customize the cushioning. You can stick whatever you need in there, and it's hardback.
It's been a temptation for me to get a Pelican case and kind of drill holes in the back for to make it a permanent case for the Rodecaster.
Yeah, I do love. I mean, it's such a game changer, the Rodecaster. Not many people appreciate when I first saw it. I can't remember how I came across it, and I first saw it, and I could see everything that does that takes my time to set up. I was the most excited I've ever been, and I bought it without even kind of looking much past that. I think I paid £429 for mine. I got it before the big price hike. But the convenience of having all of that control, I often compare it to our desk at the college that we've got, a broadcast desk for radio, which costs around 15k new. And the Rodecaster can do 95% of that and sounds amazing, just as good for this 400 quid. It's great.
When it came to the Rodecaster, I heard about it a while ago, but I wasn't interested in it until I watched this guy called Tom Buck.
Right.
And he pretty much talks about all the equipment he has in detail, but he loves the Rodecaster. He just keeps it there for every bit of recording on anything he does. Ooh, bugger. And yeah, he fully sold me on buying one.
Did you pay the hike version or the original price?
I probably played the hike version.
Because now it's ridiculous, right? Now I think it's too much money. I wouldn't buy a Rodecaster 2 or Rodecaster, whatever's current. I wouldn't pay £600 and above, because really at that point I can get myself a really nice small mixer, some really high quality cables, and a nice little 1-channel or stereo interface for half the price.
Well, you could also, instead of getting the Rodecaster, there is the Zoom Podcaster.
Don't like it.
You don't like it?
No.
That's the exact reason why I didn't buy it as well. I think it works very well. All the buttons make sense. For me, it's too plasticky.
Yeah.
It's even more convenient because you can put batteries in it.
It has more inputs as well.
Say again?
It has more mic inputs as well.
So yeah, it's a more convenient thing. But both of us just went Rodecaster.
Yeah. The Rodecaster just looks like something that's going to last a long time. And it's simple. I can give it to someone and say, look, just start this recording for me. They're not going to get it wrong.
Have you looked at Apple's new iOS leaks?
Right. So I did want to talk about this. The iOS leaks themselves, I saw some screen caps. But I immediately got distracted by Apple's release of their Pro audio and video hardware for their iPads and software, for the iPads. So I'm not sure if that's strategic because these leaks have come out and they wanted to say, hey, look this way. But they kind of came across my desk at the same time. So I saw the leaks, but I haven't paid too much attention. So do tell. Well,
so the first thing is I just closed it. The new control center rumor is interesting. The fact that they are, it is talked about that they're going to change the control center.
You got a picture?
Which I think is both good and bad. I do not have a picture, no. Because it is only rumored that it's going to happen. There's no actual solid evidence that it's going to happen. I'm going to need to get up Mastodon to double check everything.
So what's the idea? So you can change control center around or what?
It's supposed to be to make it more inconvenient. I think I saw the people adding more convenience. Sorry. To put in widgets into it. So
black and
you
white
don't have to have widgets on the home screen or anything. And maybe I think they're changing the HomeKit integration.
HomeKit's not really working, is it? I've got countless smart things in my house, and HomeKit always struggles to communicate with the hub of whatever their thing is, and the names never come across properly, and I don't really use it.
I'm trying to look for the leaks now. I've forgotten where they've all gone.
What was this HomeKit? So Apple, so the big guys, Apple, Samsung, and Amazon were going to come together and make this one standard, weren't they? That makes HomeKit work with everything.
Yes.
Did that ever happen?
It's right. So that's technically happening at the moment.
Okay.
With all these other companies, they're all taking a standard. I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. My brain keeps going Meta, but that's not it.
No.
What is the...
But if that's the case, wouldn't that fix HomeKit anyway?
Yeah, it's not fixing HomeKit in that way. It's more fixing the integration with buttons and ease, because it's supposed to kind of automate your life, right? Mm-hmm. And people have been finding that it doesn't work. It just gets it more complicated.
Yeah.
I was so prepared for this. Now it's all gone. Come on.
Beyond myself, and maybe my wife, HomeKit's not being used by anybody I know, because it's not really necessary. If you've got smart lights, you're likely just to use the smart switch or the smart app or the voice control. You don't need another application tagging along trying to put it all in one place.
It's supposed to be, so for people who own multiple buildings, like work and then house or another house, I don't know why. It's supposed to be that when you enter that location, your phone switches to that location's HomeKit system.
Okay.
But that's not been working.
Right.
I cannot find any of the leaks now. This is great.
It would be nice if they fixed that and made it useful. But like Siri, I think that what they're going to find hard is for people to adapt to it. People still laugh when I use Siri, because I use Siri to say, remind me to go to the dentist tomorrow. And people kind of rubberneck and go, what's going on? What are you doing? And I don't see many other people using Siri like that, because it just becomes another thing on top of the thing that you actually want to do.
Oh, here we go. Two iOS changing leaks, including Apple Maps live activity for the lock screen from phone area. Yeah, so they're changing how wallpaper works. They're going to be making it so you can have more options. Okay. So before you had to swipe left and right, I think now you can have 3 by 3 of how many wallpapers you want.
Oh, don't care.
I don't think that's that important.
No, don't care at all. I've still got the wallpaper on my phone is still the fishes in the fish tank. That's how much I care.
I don't like the new system for the wallpaper. I don't like the new font. I like the original font. Why do they do this?
Oh, you can change your font, right?
Yeah, I know, but just keep it to the original font. Stop adding things to the...
You're not an Apple user though, are you? So
no, I'm not, so I'm fine.
Go with Android. You can have whatever you want, as long as you're prepared to dig through hundreds and hundreds of apps. And then you...
I need to go back to Apple. I do miss it.
Come back.
Join us.
Yes, join us. No, don't join us. So as you're looking for that, I wanted to talk about the Final Cut and, more importantly to me, Logic Pro. Now, I saw the screens, I saw the ad, I read the descriptions on the page and the features, and like everything I saw, I was impressed with until I got to the price. Why are they doing a subscription model?
Oh.
So
yeah,
Logic Pro
I saw that as well.
Is $4.99 a month or £50 a year on a subscription based model, and I just thought that's a disaster. Most pros have purchased Final Cut or Logic Pro, in my case Logic Pro, for wherever it was, £200, and they're expecting that to either be an add-on or an update to Logic Pro 11, and you get the whole system together. I think they've really dropped the ball there, and they've probably shot themselves in the foot.
The bit that annoys me the most about that, though, is are you really going to be sat there editing all the time on your iPad?
No.
Or are you going to be editing mostly on your computer? The answer is computer, because you're not going to spend all that time on a portable device.
No.
And that confuses me, because now you're paying a subscription for a monthly subscription for a device you may use every so often to do editing.
Exactly.
Not all the time.
It's completely, they've missed the market. The market is the producer. I'm going to keep talking about Logic because I don't use Final Cut, but the producer who makes tracks in Logic Pro in a studio and may want to mix something offline, or maybe want to, work on an arrangement offline before they go back to the studio. So it's that convenient thing to do on a train or in bed, and then get back to the studio when you want to really monitor in the proper environment and kind of do it properly with your hardware. I'm not even sure, and I don't know if I read it, if it's compatible to go back and forth like that. That'd be interesting to see.
I saw an interesting announcement yesterday. It popped up on my phone. Someone saw a leak that they have ported Final Cut already to their AR thing. What's it called again?
It hasn't got a name, has it?
Has it not got a name? Okay. The AR thing,
right,
which is really cool because imagine editing in that workspace.
Well, with your fingers.
Yeah,
How
well,
would that...
it's not the editing with your fingers. I mean, you could probably still use a keyboard to do all the shortcuts and everything, but just the amount of space you would have to do things. Your screen is unlimited by that time.
Suppose, yeah, you can have all of your different work, what they call the workspaces, all around you in a circle, couldn't you? You could spin around and go to your color grading wall and turn around and go to your kind of audio editing wall. That'd be quite cool.
You'd be Iron Man, the video editor.
Yeah, that'd be great. I could be walking down the road to work editing video with a headset on, maybe.
That'd be very confusing for anyone else behind you.
Maybe not. Might trip on some curbs.
I actually went around my friend's house recently and used his VR headset.
Yeah.
And I didn't use it to play VR games this time. I wanted to see what it's like to use it as a work thing. And I honestly see that as the future now. That is amazing to sit there in VR and AR now and use it to work on stuff. I was just sat there using Chrome. I think actually he was using Opera. I don't like Opera. To go and use social media and stuff like that. And it just felt really nice not having a screen in a way. It's just an unlimited opportunity.
Okay, so here's my question. This is the 40-year-old Eli question. Are we not training ourselves to kind of isolate ourselves from the world a bit more by doing that? When you're on social media or Chrome or Opera, you can still look up and have a kind of peer at the person in the room with you and kind of give them a smile or a nod or answer a question. In VR, you're kind of just saying, I'm in this world, you're in that world.
Well, I think that depends on the situation you're in. If you're in a workplace, an actual workplace, not just at your house, I think that's a different situation. You'd probably want to use a screen then.
Yeah, because a lot of times in an office space, at least, you have to communicate quickly.
But the big question is now, could you replace screens at your house? If it was cheap enough, we got to put that into, because it's not at the moment.
Again,
would you replace all your screens?
No, because the social thing. What about if some people casually pass by? Have you got to give them a headset? It's not going to happen. I saw it with 3D. I went and bought a £1,500 3D TV because I thought, yeah, everyone's going to come around and watch Avatar in 3D. No one wants to put the headset on, so you end up not watching the TV. And I've got a feeling we're going to be back there again.
But then that also brings up something that I found very interesting. I was watching YouTube on through the VR headset, and you could make that into a cinema.
Oh yeah, because you got the screen space is unlimited, I guess.
It's amazing. I think that was my favorite thing to do. Just sat there, put it on a big screen. I mean, I turned the setup into an IMAX theater just in VR, which I should point out. IMAX should do that.
Yeah.
Just publish an app to put on Apple or something that actually allows you to watch IMAX in that aspect ratio. That'd be amazing.
If you've just thought of that, they're already working on that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
For sure. For sure. But you know what? I think what could solve that issue would be a pass-through mode. So on your headphones, you've got a pass-through button so you can hear people from the outside. And it even enhances that. Perhaps if they had a visual pass-through where you could just tap the side and all of a sudden you're looking out of your eyes, that could work. Rather than have to take it off.
VR headsets I've seen in the past where they project, use the cameras that they have to track your eyes and showed them on the front. I wouldn't like that, but that's what that's supposed to do.
So they put your eyes on the front?
Yeah, so they have a screen on the front of it and it just kind of uses the cameras that they have in there to show your eyes on the front of the VR headset.
What? No.
I know, it's really, really weird.
Yeah, that's not going to take off.
No.
You're going to scare little children. That's great.
If you could use AR, would you use it?
I think I would use it if I was in a studio environment. So if I'm working in my studio, most of the time I'm on my own because I'm mixing something for up to 6 hours at a time. I would use it then for sure because I know nobody's coming in. I've got this big space that I can kind of look a bit silly in, I guess, and work away and be more productive. So yeah, I would.
Then that brings me to another question of what's your opinions on the metaverse?
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
I like the concept of the metaverse. I do. It's great. The concept that you can work with people that you couldn't necessarily work with on a daily basis or be in spaces with people and share experiences. I just don't like the fact that it's being spearheaded by people that are just going to try and monetize every part of it.
Yeah. I've seen, I've been listening to about 2 podcasts about this subject. One being Cortex and the other one being called Upgrade. And they are testing it for meetings, sitting there in meetings, because they're a company, this is Relay, they're a company that is spread across the world. This is the best ways to have their meetings. And they're saying it's a really interesting way. And it's compared to doing a normal meeting, you can follow people's eyes in it. Yeah. So you can see where they're looking, if they're paying attention, and if they're wanting to know about a subject more, because they can literally raise a hand instead of pressing a button or trying to get people's attention through a Zoom call. And I think it's a really interesting way to do have this metaverse, but it has huge problems. Like the characters don't look right. I think everyone admits that they're a bit weird, and they've kind of added ads already into it.
Oh, see, no one's even got it yet, and it's got adverts.
As well as it being. Okay, one of the stupidest things I've ever heard, and this is going to sound weird at initial start. There are no female bodies in it.
Okay.
Every person looks like a male person. If they want to identify as a female, they can't. They look male.
Because men made it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that will change.
And it will change. I think they've already announced that they're going to change that. But that is a really bad start. That's already closing it off to a very small, well, I say small, a certain amount of people.
Yeah, well, 50% of the people, right?
Yeah.
51% in some places. It's got a long way to go, and your children will be more open to the idea of that. But I don't think it's going to happen really in your work lifetime.
No, we've gone through these subjects quite fast, actually. I have one more thing to talk about then.
Let's go.
What? Max App Corner.
Max App Corner. Let's go.
Music. I want to suggest another app. And it's an app I've been using a lot and discussing in class. I like Obsidian.
Obsidian. Okay, tell me about this Obsidian.
So Obsidian is a kind of a markdown writing tool. You don't know what markdown is. It's a writing format. That makes sense?
Yeah.
I love it. It made it a lot easier to do the work I do. I primarily write my scripts in it, as well as having ChatGPT help me. And it has become one of the best ways for me to do any work. I used to use Google Docs.
Yeah.
I no longer use Google Docs because I like the shortcuts and the customizability of using Obsidian.
Okay.
I would recommend it to anyone who wants to start doing a lot of writing.
So it's a productivity tool, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? At this point of your life, do you think you'll ever be going back to Microsoft Office?
No.
365?
No. So I never liked Word. I'll give you, when we were told to use it in high school, I denied using it the entire way through.
Right.
Because I wouldn't use it. I absolutely hated the format. It felt wrong to me. It made me not want to do the work. So I straight up in year 7 went on to Google Docs straight away.
Okay.
And although I don't feel that Google Docs is the best way, it was better than Word.
That's really interesting because Microsoft, I don't feel sorry for Microsoft, but I do feel for them. They're a bit like Sony in televisions. They kind of got caught slipping a bit. They thought they were the standard and nobody else could do it like them. And, Google came and took their lunch money really because they got into the online business first, whereas Microsoft was still saying, you've got to have this license and you've got to have the whole of the Office package. You couldn't just buy Microsoft Word on its own. You had to buy the whole package back in the day in a cardboard box. And, school said, well, actually, there's a free way we can do that with Google. See you later.
So with Google at my high school, my teachers hated me using it. They always complained about the fact that I was using it. And then around about year 9, it became a standard at the school.
Yeah.
As well as at the exact same time, they got a load of Chromebooks.
Yeah, money.
So Google really went into advertising all of their education system.
Money, which brings me on to Obsidian. As great as it might be, will it be able to kind of get into enough hands?
What do you mean? It's free.
It's free, but is it going to be able to penetrate those markets? What sort of thing is going to get it into those markets? It's not really targeted at education. I'll tell you that. It's not a easy thing to use. You got to kind of learn, or it's not learn. You're learning how you work with Obsidian. It's not free. I've just checked it out.
What do you mean?
It's free for the personal license.
Yeah, not for company.
Commercials, $50.
Yeah, but it's also, I think it's a one-time pay, isn't it? Or is it?
per user per year.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean,
these
like Microsoft Word, these apps rely on penetration. They rely on you to be able to know that someone else is using them. Otherwise, we'd all be using Lotus Writer or whatever it used to be called. You probably can't remember that one.
I do not remember that.
Or Pages, but Pages is a superior product than Microsoft Word.
I have to admit, I really like Pages.
But I don't use it. I know it's better, but I don't use it because no one else does.
I stopped using it, when I left Apple because they don't have it on Windows. I did really like it, but the only problem is its iPad variant isn't that good.
Okay, right. I haven't used that one. But tell me more about this software then.
It's hard to explain. Obsidian works by you making a vault. And a vault is very confusing to anyone who first uses Obsidian, which is why it's a pain in the ass. They should really explain that when you first open it. And a vault just means all of your data is kept in one location, in a tiny packets of information.
Okay.
I've called mine my Cortex as a reference to a podcast I listen to and to my brain. And it's just an area I keep all my scripts, my notes, and everything I'm planning for it.
Okay.
Like for functions, when I gave you the pitch for this show, I wrote it entirely in Obsidian and Markdown.
Okay.
And it is, one of my favorite ways of doing this now. Whenever I come up with plans, I straight away go onto Obsidian, take all my notes down, and then so I'll do 2 pages of notes, then 1 page of the final project and put it on there. As I said, it's difficult to explain this. It's more a thing you've got to try.
Well, their tagline on their website is a second brain for you forever.
Yeah.
What do they mean by a second brain? Is there some sort of intelligence that's helping you with your notes?
No.
Or?
It just means an area for you to keep all your notes. It's just a fancy way of saying this is your notes area.
Okay. So there's no ML or AI involved in it?
Okay. So when you were looking at pricing, the commercial is because of sync.
Okay.
So you can do this without having with it only being stored on your computer. Mm-hmm. And that's free. But you can find ways around it, like using iCloud or my new favorite of using GitHub, which I will say is a very confusing system. But once it's actually a quite simple process to get it up and running. Right. And then you can have it auto backup. If you ever do find it interesting to give Obsidian a go, my first tip, download the, you'll have to go into the settings, go to appearance, and now allow custom appearances and stuff, and always install the theme minimal.
Okay, I'm on it right now. So I'm going to go to manage, look for minimal. Oh, it comes up straight away. There's minimal.
And you download that theme and you add it and you enable it and all that. And as soon as you've done that, that is way better than the initial look.
Okay.
Because I find that the initial look puts you off the program.
Cool. Well, I've got it here. We'll give it a go. I'll write a few notes on it. In fact, I'm going to keep my ChatGPT library that's creating me in here and organize it in here and see how it goes.
You can also add, I think you have to pay the subscription though for ChatGPT, but you can add ChatGPT integration with it.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
As I said, I love this thing, and it just keeps all my notes, and I've added add-ons to make my life easier, which I'll probably tell you a later time off podcast. Brilliant. Well, thanks for that. I've enjoyed being in Mac's Corner today. Always learning something. That is also everything done. We can end the episode. It can be done.
How do you want to end it, Mac? Are you going to give our listeners something new to try out at home?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
So I'll give you a little hint. The next episode, we will be doing it after the Apple event, the WWDC event, because I want to talk about that.
I'm rubbing my hands together if you can't hear it. I'm looking forward to this.
I'm very much looking forward to that episode as well. Also, there might be some changes around Press Red, changing name and stuff. Don't worry about it. We'll still be exactly the same.
Yeah.
So that's it. I'll do the outro now. You can check out Eli's work on his YouTube channel, WTKA, or follow me at MacBlah at mastodonapp.co.uk. You can send your questions to us on Twitter at PressRedPod or the